Good evening, low budget LCS. I am Popoba, and we are actually a little bit late to draft here, but got a couple things I gotta say first. Les Force, thank you so much for the subscription. You want the casters to tell me. Currently it's caster. I will be joined later by the incomparable Zelius. So it is a dog-eat-dog world, but I prefer the term dog-eat-dog world. So I'm just gonna retcon the first one and say that doesn't exist, and it's a dog-eat-dog world. But without further ado, Lil Robot Land, LeChance does lick toes. Let me know in the chat who you are barking for. Dogs that bark, naughty dogs. Dog-themed match. This is for seeding in Commercial Group A. Naughty Dogs, if they win this game, I've been told, will have an undefeated season. So let's see what we've got in the draft. Already a little bit gross from the Naughty Dogs, in my opinion, with the Zeri Yuumi with Shen. So that's a pretty straightforward idea of what they want to do. A lot of 80 carries were banned away from the Naughty Dogs here. Is a huge, huge target of their draft preparation. On the other side, though, we've got Miss Fortune, Thresh, and Viego. Very, very good team fight from Miss Fortune. Strong pick presence from Thresh and Viego. So probably going to be the onus on the Naughty Dogs to not mess up early game. And Dogs that bark and need to make things happen. But the Naughty Dogs are picking up a facilitator of their own. Naughty Dogs did come into draft meowing. They said, we are a dog-based team, and we're going to pick a cat. You know, you could have picked Warwick. Just saying, you could have picked Warwick, but you didn't. Are you going to be the response on the other side? Pick comp. Pretty solidly confirmed here for the Dogs that bark. What do y'all think of this new music, by the way? Do we like this? Is this good? Let me know. Ornn! Going to be a little bit of scaling here for the Dogs that bark. So perhaps evening out the curves of these two compositions. Naughty Dogs indexing so heavily into the bot lane. I would not be shocked to see this Jin Zhao pathing bot. Viego gonna play a little bit more selfishly, gonna go for kills where he can find them. Jin Zhao, a little bit more of the facilitator, less of the carry in and of himself. Now, Varus, okay. So that's gonna probably be Varus mid, which is quite interesting here. Could be AP Varus. I mean, Zeri Yuumi do quite a bit of AP damage, but you know, it might be difficult. Shen does too. So we'll have to see what Varus's build ultimately is the answer into the Ahri. But we've got our compositions locked and loaded, gamers, so we can get the Gamba going. Wait, I might be gaslighting you all. I think I have the teams on the wrong sides. I expect to see a Zelius in here any second. I'm pretty sure this is correct. Yeah, logo's on the wrong side. Classic. Yeah. So we do actually have Naughty Dogs are going to be the ones who need to make things happen. Dogs that bark are going to be the ones that have to hold down the fort. Hovering the Warwick, thank you very much. Yep, that good. Susan as well. Good, good, good. Hovering all the dogs. All right, now that I've got that correct, even though I'm now continually gaslighting myself that it's not correct. We can get going. Chat, how you doing? How's everyone's Wednesday? We good? We vibing? I'm doing pretty good myself. Getting these logos and everything in the right spot for the in-game. Now, if I'm a betting man, I'm probably putting my schmeckles on the Naughty Dogs. They have gone undefeated thus far this season. However, Naughty Boys, as an organization, haven't, they've got a history of their teams, sometimes, going undefeated and then falling out, perhaps. So, have to see what can happen. Can the Dogs That Bark bring it on home? Dogs That Bark, I think, are locked playoffs, but it's possible if things go like in a perfect storm poorly that they might not make it. I'm not 100% sure on that. They could be completely locked. But in any case, if they win here, it will likely push them up a slot, which will mean the round 1 matches a little bit here. I was expecting an all-dog. I was expecting every single dog champion to be picked. Not gonna lie. Well, the betting, when you have an undefeated team, things might be a little bit one-sided on the bet. But that just means you could put 10 schmeckles on Dogs That Bark. You make that in like 2 minutes on this channel, and you would come away with a clean 7K. I agree, Valve Index. The Dogs That Bark logo is incredibly goated. I need to try something here. Hang on. I'm attempting. Discord is currently having issues, so I'm trying to figure that out as we get into this game here. Okay, we got 1,000 on the Dogs That Bark. Someone's going in for the payday, and it looks like that is none other than resident surgeon Sammy 2Slap. This is BO3 Valve Index, so 2 wins will clutch it. Regardless, will be interesting. See what happens. Okay. And now we have joining the cast our incredibly unbiased commentator here for top tier, master tier analysis, Zelius.
Hello. So first step of my master tier analysis, coaching, gameplay, etc. My Discord wasn't putting any audio in, and then I couldn't join calls.
Nice.
So with that being said, I drafted for the Dogs without talking to them, so I hope they like their comp.
GG. Yeah, you play this, right? Yeah. Sure.
I mean, they've definitely played that exact comp at least once in the past few weeks.
Now, for a moment there, I thought that you were the one who had drafted Yumi.
I would never. That is a very non-dog-like move.
All right, you heard it here first. Calling out the other dogs, for drafting the cat. I do notice that even though you did not draft Yumi, I don't see a Nasus, and I don't see a Warwick. Do you care to comment on this?
Okay, so I thought about that, right? But hear me out. Viego and Misfortune are kind of dog champs, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Follow up. Sorry to expose the low budget. Oh, never mind. No follow up. We are a very high budget production here at the LBLC.
We have so many schmeckles. Okay? We've got at least 5.
5.5. So, from a outside perspective, what I know about the dogs that bark is their ADC is like king of the world, like the goat.
I
Matt C
did see
is
like a billion ADC bans.
yeah, he like I don't know. I said I what I do personally is I let the dogs decide the bans and then I pick for them.
Sure.
And they're like, I don't care, Zelius, but Matt C's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, best ADC in Summoner's Rift. So I said, all right, let's 3-ban him. Let's get rid of the stuff that carries. Lo and behold, though, he apparently also has a champion Ocean because
Mm.
here he is on yet another hyper carry.
Does its tie not play the Vi then? That being the canonical Zeri counter?
So one of the things that I try to factor in when I'm drafting for the guys is really where our superstars are, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's any secret that Linoleum and Happy Death aren't coming out of any lanes 10-0, right? So a lot of the times you see them on that utility side. And
Sure.
well overheated is the solo kill mastermind up there. Most of his solo kills are in fact on Ornn, so I can get the best of both worlds with overheated. And then it kind of comes down to the star power in the mid jungle, and that's Ty and Jelly. So I like having them on comfort that they can kind of 1v9 a game with in a roundabout way of saying.
Sure. All right. Well, then that just tells us where we're going to look this game. Looking at, hey, it's Ty and Blue Moon Jelly do the work. Meanwhile, on the other side, expecting Matt C. What was it kind of like to see that Varus mid last pick?
So Ty wrote up a notepad there, and he put the champions that it was they were expecting the enemy team to play. And after the Silas and Vex that we banned out, outside and the Ori that we picked away, Varus was actually 4th on that list there. So as much as I'm shocked to see somebody of the LBLCS playing it, it's definitely something we thought was possible. And I think the guys are even expecting to play into it. With that being said, though, I think it is a pretty good pick overall into Ahri.
All right. Level 3 Scuttle. I wonder if they're going to be level 3 when they take Scuttle, because they currently are doing a full clear, so they may be gaslighting us. I'm just saying. Not making any confirmations. Right now, bot lane can be pretty even, but I'm expecting that to be the case for the majority of the time. Valve Index hitting us with the sub. Thank you very much. I think you might be new here, so here's what you're going to do. You are going to go to the Denny's in Vermont, one outside of Burlington. Knock on the back door with the da-da-da-da-da-da. Talk to our buddy Todd. Pancakes are on us. Meanwhile, Happy Death's getting taken quite low. Misses the hook. Linoleum trying to counterpunch with a little bit of damage. Does able to dissuade the march forward from Matt C.
Yeah, so this kind of plays into exactly what I was talking about, right? We're not expecting to see Linoleum Happy Death come out 10-0, but the good thing is they're pretty consistent at not going 0-10. Now, will this be the game that happens? I don't know, but I hope not.
Hope not for sure. And now, if they win this game, they're undefeated, right? That's the
Yes. So not game undefeated, but series score. So they have dropped games.
Okay. Have dropped games, but no.
But one thing I'd like to mention about Dogs That Bark specifically is they're more of a scaling team. They beat a lot of the stronger teams in the league. They actually just had a rough start, and the rough start shaped out to be some of the teams that are fighting for the playoff spot now. So they're definitely a team that's ramped up as the season's gone on.
For sure. And do you actually know, because I was looking at the standings and I didn't want to do all the math, are Dogs That Bark locked for playoffs? Because their score is not that dissimilar than the teams around them.
Yeah, I'm actually not entirely sure. I think it's pretty unlikely that they drop out of playoffs, but I believe it is possible. especially if they lose here 0-2. Essentially, what would need to happen is if Dogs That Bark went 0-2 here, and actually, now that I'm looking at the standings, no, they are in fact locked playoffs.
Okay, we're going to see a little bit of a tussle here. Really good CC chain landing on a level 3 Scuttle. Hey, it's Ty flashing forward, looking for that kill, and is able to pick it up. Now Crestfell might be in a little bit of trouble. Does get the taunt nicely over the wall, but a flash play from Happy Death, level 3 Roman mid. And the Naughty Dogs are going to pick up 2 for their troubles.
Great little play up. Grubs aren't... Oh, Grubs have spawned. Okay, I am off my timers. But one of the things that I really, really stress with this team, again, just, I guess, insights on the coaching side, is, again, we play for the carries, right? It's Ty and Jelly. It's the Ty show, Jelly show. So one of the things I always tell Happy Death is, I don't really care what's happening with Linoleum. Put him in the best situation you can to make sure he doesn't die, and he's just going to do his thing down there. He's happy to be thriving, getting farmed, solo XP. And then that opens up the floor for Happy Death to come and help Ty get grubs, help Jelly shove his lane and move, and then really work as a unit.
Linoleum, he kind of farms in real life, if you consider, you know, fishing farming. Farms seafood and farms the Rift, as it were.
But speaking of farm, I mean, Dogs That Bark up in farm and mid and bot, and I think part of that bot lane does have to do with Happy Death kind of, again, leaving Linoleum out to dry here. But honestly, the good farm outside of top lane, good farm across the board.
Yeah, solid farm. We did see Crestfall go for that roam. Didn't quite work out for him. But that's not all really what you're looking on the Shen. It is the Stand United, which we are going to be level 6 now. Ornhorn, probably pretty... Actually, how's the timing work? Stand United versus Ornhorn.
So Overheated's going to have to be pretty quick to respond to this, or do what's happening now, right? Where Shen is going to be more fearful to
Blue Moon Jelly just bullies level 3 Scuttle off of their blue buff. And the response just doesn't come through quite fast enough. Actually, Matt C now going to look to collapse. Mid lane can be here. Q, Varus, ult going to be landed, and Happy Death going to be the target of the counterpunch from the Dogs That Bark. Blue Moon Jelly now forced to ult away and hide over the walls. A little bit too greedy there from Blue Moon Jelly and Ty.
Yeah, really good play here for Dogs That Bark as well. One of the things that's really, really common in the LBLCS I've noticed, even in Executive, is teams are so quick to just over respect and give things up because they think, oh, this person's invading me, they must know something I don't. So Dogs That Bark almost calling the bluff there and saying, no, you can't do that. This is my grub, this is my blue buff, and really fighting for it shows that they're not gonna back down.
Yeah, and Overheated doing a ton of damage up here in the top lane to Crestfall. Oof, he's gonna be a little bit crestfallen about that one.
So, you know, let's talk about what really matters in League of Legends.
Sure.
Right? Both top laners have Grasp of the Undying.
Yep.
Who's going to have more Grasp procs at the end of the game?
Well, can we check that?
I don't know if we can check that, actually.
We are going to see a little bit of a 3-man dive here looking for Crestfall. Ornhorn going to be committed. It's going to let it... Oh, Ty's end up tanking, but it is a clean dive nonetheless. 3 turret shots.
Level 3 Scuttle is on the hover. Ty's pretty low, but it looks like it's going to be nothing out of it.
Yep, Blue Moon Jelly using that teleport to get back to mid lave. Cerquoise, I think. That's how I'd pronounce that. Pushing that in. Good response. But now we're going to see level 3 Scuttle Overheated. No mana available. Not quite sure what they're going to do. It looks like Ty is trying to respond. Crestfall can come. It looks like we're streaming towards a 3v3 in the top side. Cerquoise forced to flash out, though. Uses the ultimate as well. So does Blue Moon Jelly. The charm was good. Hey, it's Ty waiting in the bush. Hey, it's Ty half health, but is going to take this fight. Blue Moon Jelly coming over with the ultimate. Ultimate committed. Level 3 Scuttle, though, still quite healthy. Here comes the Shen ult from over the wall. Flash is going to keep him to safety. We are currently still neutral on that play.
Yeah, that is a crazy series of events for both teams. It is. They're playing incredibly well. one thing too to point out is you can kind of see the difference in play styles here between the two different mid laners. Jelly's opting to force a lot of the skirmishes and play for that early game, trying to snowball. Versus you can see Sir Quaz on the Varus there, just opting for the farm, getting the plates. So I believe Gold's actually probably even, if not even Varus, slightly ahead.
Varus is
Okay, so
about
Ahri is
300
slightly ahead.
behind, yeah, but, you know, pretty close all things considered.
But I mean, when you factor in XP, right, Varus is going to be sinking in first. It is something that's going to add up over time, especially if Blue Moon Jelly keeps going to force these plays in the sides. What's a 20 CS right now will become 30, 40, maybe 50, depending on how everything shakes out. And,
Yeah. So we currently
two
have
items is where Varus really shines.
6 Grasp procs for Overheated, and then 8 for Crestfall. Just saying.
Oh, Overheated's catching up. I just saw a 7.
Keeping track of the stacks. Linoleum now might be in a little bit of trouble. Here comes the lightning crash. Flash away. Heal's going to be committed, but underneath the turret, Matt C's going to find his blood. And Flash Charm, Blue Moon Jelly going to be able to find it there. Not wanting to let Crestfall play this game, using the grubs to tank up. Now Ornn going to be the target of those nice beefy shots. One shot is going to get it. So Crestfall manages to find the trade in the face of 4 members of the Naughty Dogs.
Yeah, so definitely an interesting play. I respect that, you know, they see the play happening bot and they want to counter it top. My only direct concern with that, I think, is ultimately, like, what can you really get out of killing a Shen, right? I guess in this case it was first tower. But I'm not sure if that's something you can consistently rely on, and I think post-game, you know, their coach would definitely bring that up.
Whoever he is, yeah.
Whoever he is.
All right, well, you're going to see who gets this next Drake. Dogs That Bark, a little bit behind in gold. They do have the Drake. I don't think they're super unhappy about that. Matt C has been able to get a number of these plates on bot lane, even though first tower did go ahead and fall over to Naughty Dogs. That's going to be a second Drake here in the pocket for Dogs That Bark.
Yeah, and so this is a pretty common trade-off. You see some teams have very high prio in the first 2 drags. Some teams put real high prio on getting all 6 grubs. Even ourselves, Popo, I know that's where our teams differ quite a bit. Is the disparity in grubs versus Drake prio. And honestly, I'm still not sure which one's actually better. I think it all just comes down to how it's utilized.
I think it's, yeah, pretty situational. The thing I generally think is, well, here's the hard part. If either team can play well split, like if either side has like a Fiora, for example, right? Both teams want 5 grubs, or at least want to deny the enemy having 5 grubs. Because having a split pusher with that additional power pushing pressure is just so punishing. Now, this game, I'm not really sure who's going to be playing split too much. I guess Shen can, but it's not the most threatening split.
Yeah, I think side laning.
Ornhorn going to be called up here. Crestfall going to be in a bit of trouble. However, level 3 Scuttle Crab. Oh, not there in time. That's... I don't know if that was a grass proc, but it was a brittle proc for the ages.
It certainly did a lot, and every time I see Overheated's Ornn, I feel like it just does more damage than it's supposed to, because I don't see Ornns in my game ever doing that. So I really got to give credit to the top laners like Overheated, like Crestfell, that sit up there and just play tanks.
Gotta love an Ornn. Now we're going to see Ty picking up that red buff, going for a little bit of an invade, and it does feel a little bit like the Naughty Dogs are taking control. You know, they've managed to balloon that 1k gold lead pretty quickly here into a 2k gold lead, taking neutrals, getting a couple more kills.
Yeah, and I think the thing that's really important to point out here is that even a 5k gold lead means nothing against a Zeri that's Yumi'd up. So it's really important that the dogs kind of keep the momentum, because if they even give it over for a second, Matt C and Sir Quaz around that 1-2 items with the Yuumi is just going to, much like Dogs That Bark supports names, they'll become a psychotic chain. So
Fitting the Bush is going to use that ultimate, maybe trying to one-shot the Ahri. Charm does land good, but Blue Moon Jelly still ulting away out of respect. Berserk here on the Varus. Matt C coming down, gonna slide right over the wall. Blue Moon Jelly, no charges of the ultimate ability left. Shut down, 675 gold. Going over to Matt C and the Psychotic Chainsaw.
Yeah, so right here, exactly Dogs at Bark playing into that win con, right? Matt C is in an incredible spot now. I imagine he'll be able to back and get at least a Zeal. And the sooner he can get to that Phantom Dancer spike on the second item, it's going to be incredible. But Naughty Dog's trading back, getting a tier 1 and half of a tier 2.
Yeah, good MF Ultimate is going to keep the pressure up here, though. Level 3 Scuttle, not going to let him push it too far. Now, we get to play my favorite game of or shall I say, who buys a Serpent's Fang? Because, I don't know about you, but when I play against a Yuumi that is a bunch of trouble late game, I find that a Serpent's Fang can do wonders. Because, you know, they changed her kit to be a little bit more heavy on the shielding rather than the healing. Do you think Linoleum's buying a Serpent's Fang this game? Do you think Ty buys a Serpent's Fang this game? Or do you just try to damage through it?
I think there is 0% chance that Ty buys a Serpent's Fang. And I think there is a small world where Linoleum does pick it up, but I'm not a huge advocate of the item myself. It's not something I mention as build paths. So I think a lot of it comes down to Linoleum looks up to Jelly and Ty a lot to kind of support the build path. So it comes down to if they suggest it. I think if they notice the Yuumi shields start becoming a big problem, it's something they'll consider. But otherwise, I think it might just be a damage through it.
Mm-hmm. Also would work with Shen Shield. Just saying. But yeah, I was just talking about this the other day, how the anti-shielding options as far as items go are really bad. They just don't offer a lot. Oh, Sir Kaz is going to be in trouble. Charm is not going to hit, but Blue Moon Jelly has a ton of damage. Ultimate committed. Blue Moon Jelly still going forward, but that might be a little bit too far. Matt C now coming in on the flank, able to find one. Here comes the Ornhorn, though, finding a knockup. Cleanse going to be utilized out of respect. Shen going in the back line, level 3 Scuttle looking as well. Hey, it's Ty going incredibly low, not quite able to get that reset. Matt C now jumping over the wall, overheated, going to be the next one to fall. Happy Death and Linoleum, the supportive bot laners, are going to be left to pick up the pieces, but a double kill for Matt C. And Happy Death is going to be the only member of the Naughty Dogs left alive as they take their third Drake.
Yeah, and the big thing here is Dogs at Bark are getting exactly what they want, right? Sir Quaz is happy to eat every single ability in the game, because that means that those abilities aren't going on Matt C, who has been their constant #1 carry throughout this season, just really putting DPS out there, playing these hyper carries like the Zeri, and really going for high percentage, safe, consistent plays.
Yeah, and that does, as someone in the chat is saying, pretty big gold swing. We now have a gold lead, about 2k-ish, 1.8k on the side of the Dogs That Bark, along with 3 Drakes here. However, I think they have a fairly straightforward path back into the game for the Naughty Dogs, as Matt C seems to be the sole problem on the side of the Dogs That Bark.
Yeah, and a fun little fact there, the Matt C actually accounts for the entire gold lead, and then some.
Sir Kaz, again, going to be perhaps caught a little bit. Good stun, though, onto Blue Moon Jelly. Blue Moon Jelly ulting away. Ty going to be able to finish that one up. Crestfall commits the TP to try and get there with Stand United not available. It's not going to be enough.
Sir Quaz does trade 1-for-1 with Blue Moon Jelly there, though. Given that Ty's down there, yeah, that's really good for Dogs at Bark still.
I totally missed that. I thought Blue Moon Jelly was out free and clear. But that's what a Varus arrow in the back will get you.
Yeah, and the big things here is really denying that soul point. Cloud Drake's not the worst soul to give over, but into a Zeri, it suddenly doesn't feel too good. And with Zeri Cleanse coming back up, if they can pick her before the objective spawns and burn that early, since it'll be back up in time, that's going to be #1 priority here for Naughty Dog.
Yeah. And, you know, we can also, I'm just thinking, wait, no, that wouldn't work that way. For some reason, I was thinking that when Yuumi ults, Zeri would get the move speed. but I'm pretty sure that's not how that interaction works. So, unless
I think this is the first Yuumi I've seen in 2024, so I will abstain from having an opinion.
yeah, I unless there's some mechanic where Zeri would get move speed, because Yuumi had move speed, but then I feel like you'd see some weird build where Yuumi's would go full move speed, and then you'd just have, like, I don't know, what ADC would be... I mean, Zeri would actually probably be one of the most problematic ADCs with high move speed, so you'd just see Zeri's darting around the map real fast. I don't know, actually, that's a fun question. Which ADC is the most annoying with high move speed?
Oof. You know, annoying is a really interesting word because I can think of a few, and Zeri's definitely up there.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like this should
Jinx?
seed Zeris with high moves. You know,
Yeah.
like what if there's a
Jinx
Caitlyn?
Yeah, Caitlyn's do sometimes run Ghost, and while it's not overly pleasant, it doesn't feel too disgustingly broken.
There was the Ornhorn used here. Hook not quite gonna land, but the Charm will, and that is gonna be another kill for Blue Moon Jelly.
You know, I think it might be Jinx, right? Imagine Jinx with the same passive, but Zeri's ultimate plus Ghost, right?
Yeah,
Like,
that'd be a bit scary.
See, Naughty Dogs with the desperation play already here, starting up the Baron and then quickly realizing that that's not a good idea and just backing off after getting the pick.
Yeah. Saying maybe we can take the 4v5 having the Shen dead, but then also saying, I'm not 100% sure about that one. Matt C is still alive. He has really, really earned those 80 carry bans that he's in the draft prep. Now, I think this game can still go either way, but I think it's interesting to talk about. Do you think Zeri gets banned as a draft adaptation if Naughty Dogs do lose here?
Yeah, so this is a little bit of an interesting phenomenon because I get to make that direct decision.
True.
I will say, I think regardless of win or lose, I think I will drop it for a different Phase 1 ban. I think the way the dogs are playing right now is really disrespectful to Zeri, which just from a fundamental perspective shows me they don't understand how important it is to kill Zeri, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've played against the Jinxes, they've played against the Twitches. They understand, even though it is a hyper carry, they know what needs to be done to shut it down, and I'm not really seeing this here with the Zeri. I think they're over respecting her mobility and just assuming she's not going to be able to get caught out.
Yeah, I know. I'm sometimes prone to do that. Good hook's gonna land, but perhaps not at the target you want. Stand United coming out instantly. Zeri untouched in the backline here, but is actually gonna jump out over the wall to escape, leaving level 3 Scuttle Crab a little bit isolated. Comes back through over the wall, but now there's a couple members of the backline. Matt C going incredibly low, and the Yuumi got CC'd, so she cannot reattach to the Shen. For now, another ultimate going to come out here from Ty, and that's going to be a clean sweep. Naughty Dogs will pick up their first drink.
All right, I take back everything I've ever said. They must have heard me through the stream and wanted me to shut up.
I was going to say they heard you talking shit.
That was exactly what needed to happen from the perspective of Naughty Dogs to kind of get the angle into the game, right? Matt C just, again, even starting that fight very much hitting the back line. There was a nice hook on the Surfwaz. But again, I think Matt C there is the #1 priority. It's get his cleanse and then get him. And they did a much better job of kind of capitalizing on that. And I think Ornn's ult being on such a low cooldown is kind of going to help that happen rather consistently. And they will pick up the Baron here. Probably just base, and then I imagine they're going to look to get mid tier 2 and then push up bot with maybe Jelly and Overheated.
All right, well, yeah. They make full advantage of that team fight, able to pick up both of the neutral objectives sitting here on the map, Baron, and preventing that Cloud Soul from going over, as well as picking themselves up a 2.5k gold lead. Now, looking at where that cold lead is allocated, we are basically seeing mostly a dance between Hayet's Ty and Matt C. Although, I will say Linoleum does actually have a sizable chunk of income as well. Okay, Varsol's gonna be used there onto Overheated. Overheated gonna respect it and flash out.
Yeah, really good from Cirquoise to just go for it. I mean, the AP Varus, I think nobody expects that damage, right? The Blight stacks, just incredible. And even to an Ornn, you can almost ignore the Ornn's tankiness, and with the right combo with sacking the Blight with the Hail of Blade autos, and then also getting the full stack from the ult, you can easily nuke a tank. It's an incredible champion.
Yeah, good hook gonna land there, but not too much gonna happen. Linoleum walks up for that little love tap passive. People pointing out in chat, very rightly so, Ornn items are about to come through. We actually have... I have no idea what the upgraded name of Unending Despair is. Do you know?
Not without hovering over it.
Okay. Hope Adrift.
I kind of like, it's kind of like how Happy Death is the opposite of Mad Life. It's like it's the antonym.
Yeah. And we are going to see a little bit of a push in here. Instead of going bot, though, they're going to push in through the top lane, looking at getting those turrets closer and closer to the inhibs. Now, getting all of that neutral gold has ballooned this to about a 4,000 gold lead for the side of the Naughty Dogs.
Yeah, and they're even going to collapse on bot here, maybe try to dive this Varus, try to get the tier 1.
Circause, it's been nice knowing you. The ultimates come through. Really nice stand united timing. Crestfall throwing it down, but it does not matter. You have the hell of 1,000 suns raining upon you.
I do think if Xin and Shen and Yuumi just save every single ability for this series, I think there's totally a way back into the game for Dogs at Bark. I think Matt C can really run away with this game. And again, Crestfell showing that he has the reaction time to get some frame perfect ultimates in. Because I think if he did that one any later, the Varus was already gone.
Yep. We are going to see the classic Wormfallen sacrifice coming out here for the Viego. And Ahri's got to be closing in on that death cap. I think about 700 gold left to go here for that Ahri. Very frightening. Lightning. He is pointing out that MF not quite ahead in gold. Very frightening. Very close, though. It's about 500 gold between the two 80 carries.
I will say it is an impressive flip given the deficit of 50 CS, given how lane phase went. And I think it really speaks to Linoleum's resilience to just be a team player. He knows that if he sacrifices what he needs to early, he trusts his team to make it up to him later.
For sure. Now, do you think... Well, I won't get you to perhaps reveal what pocket picks you have should MF be banned, because I think MF has been a very good champion for how Linoleum wants to play this game. You mentioned team-oriented. What a great team fight ultimate to have. In the Misfortune. I think probably I don't want to say the best 80 carry team fight ult, but maybe Nyla takes that. Depending on how things happen. Drake fight gonna be happening here soon, though.
Yeah, again, it does put Naughty Dogs in a weird position because every Drake fight becomes so important because they want to deny that soul point. The scariest thing that can happen for either team, though, to be honest, is either team getting an Elder Drake. I think if this game goes to an Elder, it's whoever gets the Elder is going to win the game.
Yeah, blue team just going to pick it up, and now they've landed a hook onto the jungler. Uses the Crescent Guard, so that won't be available. Ooh, Varus ultimate going wide is a huge opportunity. Here comes the Ornn Horn. Ultimate being used from Ty as well. He flashes forward to get the reset. Charm's going to land onto the Varus. Wind becomes lightning. Linoleum goes on a rampage. Now it is 3 versus 5 here on Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, the Viego reset's coming up huge in these fights.
Do you think they're going to go for the end here? It looks like they are preparing to siege this tower.
I still think Psychotic Chainsaw, Matt C, and Crestfell could still 3v5 with the right conditions. So I personally wouldn't go for the end, but...
Okay, we are going to see a taunt underneath the turret. Blue Moon Jelly going to be forced to get out of there, but Linoleum going to go unstoppable, and now Matt C just taking so much damage. Hey, it's Ty going in the back line, using that Viego ultimate. Ultimately, the Psychopathic Chainsaw is going to get taken out before level 3 Scuttle can become in range. And hey, it's Ty latches himself onto Linoleum for a little bit there, enjoying the usage of that Viego passive.
Yeah, and I think from here it will be a pretty stock standard close. That Baron is coming up. They'll reset. It'll be really hard unless they look for a nice advantage fight here without Tai having most.
We are going to see the ultimate be popped out there, and Happy Death will go down. Baron available. We could see the dogs that bark rush it.
Needs to buy a lottery ticket because he had just enough mana to ult out of there.
Are you sure it wasn't calculated?
Again, I'm very intimate with the Naughty Dogs team, and I assure you nothing that happens is calculated.
We play for our feelings, perhaps. We are going to see lots of ornaments coming through. I believe that's Youmuu's Wake down there for Linoleum. I'm surprised that Blue Moon Jelly hasn't gotten an ornament yet.
Yeah, there must be some team drama or something I don't know about. I personally would have had him as my second upgrade. But I guess, are any of those Ornn items upgradable?
I think maybe waiting for... I think Decap is. So I think maybe what's happening is they're waiting for Decap.
That would make the most sense, because it does take a while for Ornn to get to 15 to 16. Especially in a game slate like this, because he starts sharing so much XP. That could be it. I know Rabadons used to be upgradable, but I just wasn't sure after the swap.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is, which is, of course, a mage's finest dream. Now we're going to see Cerquoise with a little bit of a flank, and they're going to be able to find a shutdown here onto Linoleum. However, Cerquoise is going to be the next one to be taken down. Hey, it's Tai looking to do damage using that Varus. Gets onto Matt C, but Matt C with a huge shield. Stand United coming through, but it's not going to be quite enough. A double kill for Hey, it's Tai. And now he's going to have that body of the Zeri to go absolutely wild. Crest Fell and Level 3 Scuttle are trying to get it done. And it is a little bit of a wet noodle fight, but I think the noodles for the Naughty Dogs are just a little bit firmer.
Yeah, and that should be game. There's minions on top of the Nexus and honestly, that was the perfect positioning of a fight for Dogs That Bark. I think it was just one or two team fights too late. The Shen ult came down on Matt C. The team was peeling for him nicely. It was just honestly, I think Tai just had too much gold, and with the Sterix, he was just able to kind of ignore that final combo there and cement the game for the Naughty Dogs.
Yeah. Game 1 going over to the Naughty Dogs, but not without argument, I would say.
No, and I full transparency. I thought at the 20-minute mark, I thought the Naughty Dogs had lost.
Karmic punishment for Yuumi, says someone.
There is a lot of Yuumi haters in the LBLCS, but I'm also wondering if maybe there's just a lot of Yuumi haters in League of Legends.
Yeah, could be. It is entirely possible. Now, are you going to have to go to draft, or because your voice calls just aren't working, are you just going to draft from in here?
I'm going to try to join their call, but yes, if not, I'm just going to draft from in here.
Valve Index wants a bear fact with bear. I am prepared for this. All right, I've been looking at bear phylogeny. If you know what phylogeny is, it's how recently two different species had a common ancestor. So whenever you see one of those little trees, that's going to be your phylogenetic tree. But what I was noting was, we all know panda bears. I'm saving some panda bear facts for later. Actually, no, we had a panda bear fact about their thumbs. Spectacled bear we talked about last time. Only bear native to South America. This time, I wanted to talk about the absolutely terrifying sloth bear. Okay? Sloth bears are absolutely massive, and they exist in two subspecies. You've got your Indian sloth bear and your Sri Lankan sloth bears. And they are the most aggressive species of bear, partially due to their inability to climb. I hope that does it for you as far as the bear facts go. Happy to expound on that a little bit.
I would like to add a bonus bear fact before I disappear here.
Okay.
Bears are one of the only animals other than humans that can feel pride.
Feel pride.
Yeah. Yeah, as in like a complex emotion.
Interesting.
Yes. But with that said, I will be right back.
All right, sounds good. And I will be the drafter here. It looks like the Naughty Dogs are going to stay blue side here, with the Dogs That Bark going to be remaining with that counter pick for now, as we are going to get going into this pick ban. I want more dog champions, okay? I don't care if the team that picks the dogs loses, they have my undying loyalty. So, if we see a Warwick, great. If we see a Nasus, awesome. Okay? But if we see another cat, you know, maybe a Corky. You know, Corky's got that dog skin. There's a couple of like dog-based skins. Nefiri, how could I forget Nefiri? We could see a Nefifi. That could be good. Yeah, thank you. Love it. Meow, well... Oh, there's a Fizz dog skin. I don't know how I feel about that. In any case, we are going to go ahead and get into the draft here. We've got Twitch being taken off the table. Naughty Dogs will be yet again focusing down Matt C. Expected bans would be pretty similar to the last time, so we're expecting a lot of 80 carry bans here from the Naughty Dogs. I think Vayne was one of the first 3 that was banned last time as well. So I would expect a hyper carry like that to be taken away. Jinx, I think, was also another ban. Syndra was banned last time from Blue Moon Jelly. Sort of known champ for them. Looks like Dogs That Bark keeping the bans relatively similar for now. But waiting a little bit longer on this third ban, perhaps discussing Zeri or Jinx. Jinx is going to be banned, so Zeri is going to be open again. We'll have to see if maybe Linoleum is open to playing that. But they are just going to go ahead and grab the Misfortune off rip. We'll see if Zeri Yuumi is going to be the response yet again, or if the Dogs That Bark have a different plan this time around. Lucian can be the pickup. A little bit more of an aggressive AD carry here, something that doesn't need as much time. Could be impactful on the game. Something that maybe can facilitate a little bit more of its solo kills, and Nami's going to be the combination. That's going to be a classic. Nefiri is going to be hovered here for the Naughty Dogs. Are they teasing us, or will they give us the dog? That's the Nasus hover. Alright, listen. You can't toy with my emotions like this. Alright? Thresh gonna do the pickup yet again. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? All 3 picks coming here. The same for the Naughty Dogs. If it ain't broke, don't fix. Third pick here, gonna be the Malphite instead of the Shen. So perhaps going for something a little more team-oriented, something that has that access to the backline of the Naughty Dogs. So far, Dogs That Bark, they're not shying away from the aggression here in this game too. Now, are we going to see Ahri picked up? Silas is going to be banned. Vex as well. Could just be an Ahri Ornn run back for the Dogs. Ari will be banned away, so adaptation in the mid lane will be required. Varus can be banned away, so they're going to force both mid laners to adapt from last game. A little bit of novelty. Rek'Sai going to be the pickup, a very aggressive jungler pick here for the dogs that bark. Ornn going to be hovered here. Naughty Dogs. I would expect them to pick it up, run it back with a different mid laner. Perhaps something a little control magey. But I'm seeing a lot of dive tools here onto Dogs That Bark, and I'm thinking that Linoleum in particular is going to have a much harder time, but Tristana is going to be the lock-in for the mid lane pick, and then the Mordekaiser will follow. Mordekaiser, nice little AP pick into the Malphite, but the Malphite will certainly be happy with the composition of the rest of the map. Meanwhile, that R5 pick being held for Cerquoise. Oh. Is this Malphite mid then? Still just a hover. Get baited. But if this gets locked, and it does, that is going to be a Shen top Malphite mid game. So we're really, really focusing in here on the Rek'Sai Lucian to do the damage and carry. It could be AP Malphite. I'm not sure. Hey, they could really cook and send Malphite to the jungle. All right. We are going to get another prediction going. Such an aggressive team comp with such a clear direction. I feel like Malphite will function like a favorite ball being thrown, and the rest of the dogs that bark will just jump in after. I absolutely love that take coming out here from Loki Aurora. Malphite is the stick, the favored ball, the toy that all of the dogs that bark love, and they will dog pile onto the back line of the Naughty Dogs. The only person who doesn't have amazing tools is the Nami. Nami doesn't really want to be in there anyway. She'll be throwing bubbles, chucking ultimate, and hanging out and saying, "Go, get him!" As I do expect Brazilius. I'm on to you.
Impure fools. People fear what they cannot understand.
And we are back. So, mostly the same, draft-wise, for you all. But perhaps just a little bit different.
Yeah, I thought about just doing the exact same draft, but the Naughty Dogs didn't like that.
Yeah, they wanted a little bit of spice, a little. I mean, Dogs That Bark did ban the Ahri, so they did force your hand a little bit.
Yeah, that was the real catalyst of me giving in. It had nothing to do with the team crying. What we were going to do originally, I guess, for those that are interested in the nerdy draft insights, if people are interested.
I think we are.
Originally, we were just going to run the Ornn back, go 4 to 5, and then lock something mid. But the issue is we would require a heavy AP, heavy DPS mid. And the only available champion that would really accomplish that healthily that's kind of in Jelly's champ pool is the Azir. But then if we do that, then it's he's like 50-50 on the Azir. He's either 12-0 or 0-12, and I just didn't want to see that from the guy on stream. So I did us both a favor and got him the Tristana. Unfortunately, it is a Malphite mid, but that definitely was a curveball for us in draft that we were not anticipating.
Yeah.
But we did kind of forward think a little bit with the Malphite. So Malphite's going to be able to get Shen out of a fight or Malphite out of a fight, or really in an ideal circumstance, if he can get some armor on the table and just alt Lucian, there's nothing that can, like, there's no damage on the side of dogs that bark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly will be interesting to see how this dogs that bark composition goes out. They're very heavily indexed into that AD damage, unless we see some cooking here from the Malphite, or honestly, maybe even Shen. Do you know the forbidden Shen build?
I am not familiar with the forbidden Shen build, but I do know that your top laner Popoba is a bit of a Shen savant, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, he does like his Shen. Now he doesn't build this build because he thinks it's bad and suboptimal. Okay, but I've heard about this build from tales on the internet. Now, granted, this was back when mythics were a thing, so you'd have to change up the items. But it used to be that you could get like a really, really high amount of percent health damage by building Sunderer. This was when it was Divine Sunderer. So Sundered Sky would be a little bit different. And a Gnasher's Tooth on Shen.
I like that. That's, it's interesting, but I see why it's forbidden, but I like it.
I think if you hit all of your like empowered autos and everything, you get like 112% health damage, or at least that's how it used.
That's crazy.
Obviously makes them a little bit more squishy though, and yeah, well, we'll be exciting to see nonetheless. I'm excited to see. Do you think Happy Death is going to spend a little bit more time in the bot lane this game, given the verbal condemnation they perhaps achieved on stream?
Yeah, I do think Happy Death's going to spend a lot more time bot. I kind of actually didn't talk to them about gameplay at all. But I think what they drew the conclusion of is the same thing that Dogs That Bark drew the conclusion of, and it's Matt C is a scary man.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that on Dogs That Bark. They're really drafting for it, right? Lucian is a hard lane bully that scales relatively well. He's got the Nami there that's going to keep him through the mid game, through the late game. He's got the Malphite for just rock solid engages. The Rek'Sai for not only peel but picks and other assassinations. Can't speak English, my bad. And then again, rounding it out again with the Shen. We saw some frame perfect ults last game. So whether that's again keeping the Malphite Rek'Sai alive longer to peel, or that's using it on Matt C himself, he's got all the resources in his back pocket here to really run away as long as his lane can go well. So I think what the Naughty Dogs need to do is stop the lane from going as well as possible.
Sure, so a little bit more focus going to the bot side this time. I do love to see every single person in this game appears to have Mastery level 7 on the champ of their choice. Love to see it. We are going to get in-game. Am I still streaming, by the way, for you? Or did it shut off? No. Okay, I'll get that in 1 second.
And quick request, do 1080p 30 FPS so the Discord stream doesn't lag.
Okay.
Thank you.
We had a little pause, unpause, and now I think we're at our post-pause in the game. If I'm not mistaken.
Now, while it's in the post-pause, two things to mention. First things, most importantly, I do have some corianders to tango with now, which is why the delay on me getting back was occurring. And then second thing, really didn't get a lot of credit last game, but I'm excited to see Psychotic Chainsaw off the Yuumi.
Yes.
Because on the Yuumi, they played very, very well. And I don't want to discredit that. It's just very hard to gas up a Yubi because, well, you're playing 40% of the game. But despite playing 40% of the game, they were still flying and doing a lot to kind of, again, help Matt C get into the position he got into. So I don't want to take anything away from the Yuumi gaming, but I am excited to see what they can do on the Nami.
Yeah, will be very interesting to see the different kinds of skill expression that you get to see with a terrestrial champion. Although that term probably is not best suited for a mer person, huh?
I think there's summoners that would debate you on that one.
Go for it. Do it. Send me angry all chats in community. I live for it.
Make sure to ping him.
Mm-hmm.
He loves that.
Yeah,
He
ping
loves
me
that
all the
most.
time. Makes me happy. Makes my neurons go bing. So, how does a Tristana Malphite lane go? Does Tristana just push in Malphite? Or like...
I have a little bit of a story time, actually. I think a good portion of LVLCS knows about this because fellow admin Ruffian really likes to bring it up. When Ruffian was a mere Gold 4 player, I decided I was going to hop on my Smurf, practice Tristana, and duo with him. So, you know, I was playing Tristana in Gold 4. My past couple games, I was doing really well because, you know, I'm a little bit above Gold 4 skill level.
Mm-hmm.
But then I duo with Ruffian, and the enemy mid laner picks Malphite. I couldn't do anything the whole game. It is awful. He's so tanky, and the natural armor he gets in his passive is just enough to really neutralize the bullying Tristana can do. So while Tristana will get wave prio hyper early, the second a back or two gets in, it's going to be the Turquoise show yet again.
I see. And yeah, we're seeing that it does look like it might be AP Malphite. Now, Doran's Ring, by no means the be-all, end-all of the build. But it is Comet, not Grasp. Although perhaps that's because it's melee into ranged. And it is Ignite.
Yeah. The Ignite is really what sells it to me, as he must be going AP, which I think does alleviate a lot of that pressure that Tristana would otherwise feel. It just becomes, again, respecting the level 6 a lot more. And I think to that point, Jelly and Linoleum have to be really on the same page about not only Malphite's ult cooldown, so that Linoleum can ult, but also just not clumping on top of each other.
Yeah, sometimes hard to remember that you don't want to group up in a team fight. I'm certainly guilty of that every once in a while. We're going to see Ty here in the mid lane, but Turquoise doing so much damage there to Blue Moon. Meanwhile, Level 3 Scuttle in the bot side. Linoleum flash forward, going to be able to find the knockup, but the Lantern gets him out. One more tick of Ignite will not do it. Linoleum keeps it safe. Flash forward.
Ooh. Had to flash the Arcane Comet or it would have been sudden death for Jelly. One thing that made that engage so tough was that he actually Tristana bombed the minion and not the Malphite. Now, fun little fact about target like point and click abilities, guys. In case you're not aware, the target champion's only key, which if you don't have rebound, is the tilde key, which is that quirky little squinkle next to your 1 on your
Love it.
keyboard, perhaps below escape. If you use that and use a point and click ability, it'll actually only let you use it on champions.
Fun fact.
So it's really good at avoiding towers and minions. So whenever you're concerned about accidentally hitting a tower and pulling aggro, or hitting the minions instead of the person, I
Whack that
highly
tilde
recommend investigating in that tilde key or whatever you have target champions only rebound to.
Yeah. I just rely on my mouse button clicks, but it's probably a good idea to look into that one.
Yeah, I discovered it pretty early on because I have some of the worst click accuracy one can have.
Yeah, I've done a number of things that are what you would call suboptimal. For the longest time, I would level up my abilities. Happy Death goes for the counterplay with a hook onto Matt C, but it's still going to go incredibly low. Shield comes through, but it's not going to be enough. First Blood is going to go over to Matt C, but Linoleum flashes forward for the counter punch.
Yeah, and honestly, this is the first blood onto the Lucian's definitely way better on average, but the wave's in a pretty good spot. And the thing that sucks about the ADC getting the counter kill is Linoleum gets to stay alive and soak up some extra minions that Matt C is going to miss out on.
Yeah, Matt C will get that additional first blood. Ultimate coming out here from Overheated. Crestfell will be trapped here, blocking all the autos, but cannot block the decimating smash.
Yeah, really, really big out of Overheated here. I think he's been itching to play a champion not named Ornn all season. So he finally gets to rock it now, and seeing it's also a really good Shen counter.
Ooh, this is a little bit tricky from level 3 Scuttle. He's going to be on the Drake here, getting quite low. Will be spotted out here from Hey It's Ty, who is level 5. We're going to see an engage. Flash over, level 3 Scuttle. Goes over the wall with the Shen ultimate. But the Dragon's likely going to go over to Hey It's Ty now. Can they find the counterplay? Make it perhaps worth it. Blue Moon Jelly coming for the play. Zerkaz now going to use that ultimate Unstoppable Force. Hits onto Blue Moon Jelly, but Blue Moon Jelly has that rocket jump available. Now Crestfall is going to be the target. So much damage, block, flash over the wall, they're going to be okay, but Happy Death with the hook from downtown is perhaps going to help seal the deal. W forward, not quite over to find it. Happy Death goes forward and claims it for himself.
Almost dies in the process. You know, I think the great hook over the wall is just another funny little insider story here. We've had multiple team conversations to Happy Death about not taking kills. And, you know, you almost saw the hesitation there of him being like, can somebody else get this before he really went for the tower, or before he went for the kill. And he actually almost gave the kill away from the hesitation. So it's definitely a two-way street when you see your fresh support with 4 kills. You gotta kind of find where to draw the line.
Yeah, I struggle with that too. I primarily play, not carry, I primarily play engaged jungler, so I'm not usually looking for me to have all the money. But man, when someone gets away because you didn't auto, it hurts.
Yeah, and especially in the more pivotal fights like that. I mean, that kill could really shape how the rest of this game goes. And every so early, every little 300 gold income boost you can get helps, right? So not having it can be detrimental.
Mm-hmm. In Norm's games, in any case, interesting itemization up here in the top lane. Haunting Guys versus... That's not... Negatron Cloak, right?
Yeah, and it makes sense on the surface because you know, you want magic resist to your magic laner. My big fear with the Negatron Cloak in general, depending on what it turns into, is Mordekaiser's damage actually really quickly becomes a lot of true damage. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how effective itemizing that MR will be when the rest of the team is just that raw AD.
Got tons of AD coming out here from the rest of the squad. Matt C picking up a good amount of gold here on this turret.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you want to see for Dogs That Bark, just the Lucian getting up that gold lead.
Happy Death, though, not going to be able to find anything too aggressive.
Now, with the Malphite being full AP, though, I am thinking their plan is actually a lot more for the mid game, just getting on top of that misfortune with the Malphite ult and then Shen ulting him.
Yep, we're going to see a little bit of a cheeky play here. Okay, Culling going to be utilized. Linoleum will be hit by a lot of that, but Happy Death going to take some of it as well. Now we're going to go over to the top lane. Death Realm not quite utilized there. Happy Death is not letting up this pressure. Ultimate comes out. Misfortune finds plenty of damage there onto Psychopathic Chainsaw. We're seeing another engage here in the mid lane. Now, being AP does mean that Zerkaz is a little bit more vulnerable. Both junglers hanging around the spot lane.
Yeah, and you can tell again right after the game one.
Happy Death going to be the target. Smite going to be utilized. Knockup going to be found, and that's going to be Matt C with a kill. Linoleum powerless to help his support.
Yeah, and I think that's just straight disrespectful out of Happy Death. We see not that we see. We know the jungler's bot side, though. Kai's committing to his camps. And the question is, can we do this respectfully, knowing that every 300 gold on Mat C is like giving 600 gold to anybody else.
It is a challenge here. Is going to be able to pick up that full Kraken Slayer now here for this Lucian. 17 CS, along with a little bit of a kill, means they're going to be about 1,000 gold ahead of Linoleum. Linoleum opting for the slightly less expensive items, though, but will still have their first item as well. Blue Moon going to jump in, but a beautiful Malphite ult is going to cancel it. Sir Quaz almost dies, but level 3 Scuttle comes in to save the day.
Yeah, and great gank from level 3 Scuttle. And you know, his name's even funnier now. He's played Xin Zhao and then Rek'Sai. Champions that really love the...
Okay, we're going to see Mat C being the next target. W not quite going to land, but Hainstein does get stunned up, and that's quite a bit of damage going over. Linoleum, a good Q through the minions. Mat C trying to counterpunch with the calling. Happy Death has to be careful. Flashes away, but the flash forward is good.
Yeah, and Mat C now really building up a lead. He's gonna. The sooner he can get to that second item, the more this comp will really come online. And with the way that level 3 Scuttle's playing too, he might even be able to kind of snowball the rest of the map. And if all 3 of these lanes can get ahead,
he's gonna go forward on Linoleum now, and that's a lot of slows. Linoleum gonna go down to Mat C, who Matt saw his angle and found a solo pick. Well, not solo. Credit to Patriotic Chainsaw. Psychotic Chainsaw.
Patriotic Chainsaw. 4th of July, baby.
Yeah! I mean, to be fair, I think chainsaws are both pretty American and pretty Canadian.
Yeah, for different reasons.
We're going to see a hook underneath the turret, but Unstoppable going to use that ultimate as a way to get out. Bomb will detonate, but not too much going to happen. Overheated now available in the side of the Dogs That Bark. Running away, one reset is going to be found. Blue Moon Jelly going to hop into the team. Hook is going to be good. Level 3 Scuttle almost going to fall, but able to dive away. Psychotic Chainsaw giving their life to hope that Mat C gets out, but that shutdown will go over to Blue Moon Jelly, and these grubs are going to fall into the pocket of its tie.
Yeah, you really see the value that the Naughty Dogs have on just raw team fights, right? They really have the power of friendship when it comes to some of their grub and dragon fights. They tend to get on the same page before they go into any given fight, and I think it makes the exchanges a lot more comfortable. I do think, again, I think with team fights, once Mat C has that QSS, it'll be a lot better for Dogs That Bark to kind of not have to worry about the Mordekaiser, and then not lose all your damage. Because I think that's your only real concern, even with that exchange, is that if Mat C gets Mordekaiser ulted, the damage goes away.
Yeah. Is the sort of benefit of Mordekaiser, he's one of those sort of game warping, fight warping champs, where if you can take one person out, changes the dynamic of the whole fight pretty quickly. And we are going to see bot lanes rotated up to mid here. I wonder, with that longer lane to the bot side, if we're going to see anything different coming out from the Cerquoise Blue Moon Jelly sort of 1v1, or if Cerquoise is just going to save that ultimate ability for the team fights, for the neutral objectives. Yeah, speaking of, ultimate in the mid lane is going to be able to find Linoleum, and that is going to be a absolute beautiful pick. 2 go in there on a Mat C Cerquoise, saving the ult for the team.
Yeah, an incredible play from Dogs That Bark, Cerquoise especially. Notice he wasn't even down there bot matching the Tristana, right? I think he knows at this point it's not worth solo ulting the Tristana, and I can't fight her if I'm not going to ult. So he's just waiting for the right timer mid. Gresham Misfortune being disrespectful, capitalizes on it. Now Dogs That Bark are going to be able to turn that into a Rift Herald, which should be able to help them break out the tier 1.
The Bloom and Jelly going forward, though, trying to find all the damage that they can onto Cerquoise, knowing that the ultimate is not available.
Yeah, that's exactly the bullying you want to see from the Tristana, right? Because fact of the matter is, Malphite ult is just a ticking nuclear bomb. So every time it's up, you can count Linoleum dead. and not much Linoleum can do about it unless he is trying to position in Narnia, which means he can't fight or farm or do anything that an ADC wants to do.
Overheated. Going in here. Now, I haven't seen it banned. I haven't seen it pick. But can we talk about Overheated's name?
Yeah, so little known fact, actually nobody would know this. I've known Overheated since 2013, and
Blue Moon Jelly going to be taken out by a Q Greaves a little bit for the turret. Linoleum now going to be healing underneath the turret. Happy Death trying to keep him alive as Ty comes to the backside and gets the Mat C kill. Now Psychotic Chainsaw has to deal with the body that they raised to be so strong. And some nice footwork, but ultimately...
the fancy feet with... That's why you cannot have Psychotic Chainsaw on Yuumi, okay? It's the plays like that of just dodging everything that are just beautiful to see.
Oh, the hook from Happy Death. Oh, but the ultimate from over the wall, and they're going to be able to find one. Can they find another one? Hey, it's Ty is going to have to be your next target, although Happy Death is quite low. TP coming out here from Blue Moon Jelly, going to be reinforcing that tower is not going to be long for this world. Level 3 Scuttle goes in, but Level 3 Scuttle is taking the bullets, uses the ultimate to stay alive for now, but the soul goes over to Hey, it's Ty. Blue Moon Jelly going in into the face of Mat C, immediately has to flash out. Burn the ultimate is going to be alive for now, but Mat C will pick that up with Piercing Light.
Yeah, naughty mid laners tend to have poor dopamine receptors, so plays like that are not uncommon across the org, I have to admit. You know, sometimes you see the angle and then the angle never goes away. It never goes off the screen.
You're like, no, this is good. It was good 30 seconds ago, so it is still good now. Mat C gonna take so much damage from Ty, but a beautiful Stand United gonna keep him alive on a sliver of HP. But now Psychotic Chainsaw gonna be alone. The Decimate Isolating Smash just does so much damage.
Yeah, and the joy here with that is Mat C is low, and they were able to get Psychotic Chainsaw, so they still have some pretty good leverage over top. And Linoleum was hiding in the bush, so he was actually coming out of there by surprise. But Dogs that Bark recognizing that quickly enough and able to just walk away. Let Mat C get the reset. Ty is still down, so they can make the plays right. Malphite ult is available.
Yep.
They could definitely.
They're going to go in. Happy Death finds the hook. Level 3 Scuttle gets pretty low initially, but here comes the ultimate to the back line. The culling is not going to be found onto the Misfortune. And that's going to be a good stun, but the hooks keep on coming. Zerkaz going to be the target of the Death Realm, and Overheated is mopping up these fights.
Yeah, really, really good statement series here from Overheated so far. Saying I can play the tank, I can play the brutes, and really showing up for a team that honestly I think without the Mordekaiser here would be struggling to even try to deal with this Lucian.
Yeah. Critically is just able to sort of remove a part of the equation every single team fight and comes out that much stronger for it. So, well, be interesting to see how side of Dogs That Bark decide to deal with that threat. Kanik Rookern is the choice for Crestfall. Be interesting to see if we see any other champion-specific itemization. Does Death Realm would count as CC, right?
In terms of what?
Like, would Anathemas lower the duration of it?
Ooh, I don't think Anathemas would work, but you can QSS it. And I think you could even cleanse it. I'm not 100% positive on that one, but I think even cleanse would have been a high value summoner spell.
Can you? I don't think you can cleanse Mord. I don't think so. Maybe I'm just completely wrong.
It's not a knockup. I think it is a unique. I don't know. Anybody in chat know if we can cleanse Mortal?
Yeah. What removes Mortal? I know there's some fun interactions with like Nocturne ult and Melio. If you have a Melio and ult your whole team during a Nocturne ult, I think you get vision back. Crestfall gonna be the target here. Will be stunned up. Hook not gonna land, but the AD damage rings true through the Kanik Rookern shield. Cannot cleanse.
So, I did just find out you can cleanse the channel if you have like Captain Jack reaction time. So when he like sends his mace forward and does like the soul sucking, you can cleanse that. But if you're actually ulted, you can't.
Got it. GP can eat an orange, I know that. We're going to see Baron here. Level 3 Scuttle is available. Overheated, sieging the turret. Level 3 Scuttle goes into the pit. Perhaps a little bit too early. Uses that ultimate to try and stay alive, but is going to be claimed by Hey, it's Ty. Now level 3 Scuttle will go down to the hook. Lands true on the Mat C. A beautiful bubble is going to keep him alive for just a little bit, but Linoleum was hanging out on the other side of the wall. And now the TP coming out here from Blue Moon Jelly. That's going to mean your structures are absolutely not safe. And what do you do when a Tristana is knocking on your base with Baron?
You know, there's two answers.
Oh, big ultimate coming through here, but not much in terms of the back end. Able to find one, Sir Kaz.
Now, he did beat me to the punch. I was going to go on a monologue about surrendering, but
It
then
starts with
saying
success.
Chad Malphite ult, but then he beat me to the punch. Got a nice little pick on Happy Death there. Keeps the mid inhib alive, kind of calms the storm of the Baron buff. Naughty Dog's taking the reset because they don't have the Thresh, who is so pivotal and kind of starting any fight with a nice little pick. And again, that's honestly, it buys time for Malphite ult to come right back up, right? I think that's exactly what's needed right now. And super high value is Mat C finally has that QSS coming in, and he's really going to be able to take advantage of his full front-loaded kit with the Nami, with all the peel, without Mordekaiser being able to take him away.
Yeah, does have that now available. It would be interesting if we saw Mikael. Wait, you couldn't Mikael's Mortal, could you?
No, because somebody would have to use it on you.
You couldn't, like, click the portrait?
No. So again, it would follow the same rule as cleanse. You could theoretically Mikael's them with
The lightning
good enough reaction
reflexes,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, yes, but no, there's no portrait abuse or anything
Crestfall
cheeky
taking
like
so
that.
much damage underneath this turret. So is Ty, but the reset's going to come through, and he's going to be a little bit healthier for it. Happy Death taking a ton of damage here. Uses the lantern to just try and stay alive, but will eventually be a 1-for-1 here. Gonna back off. They do have a 10k gold lead, so...
I do think it's looking grim for the side of Dogs at Bark, but I don't think they're
Okay,
out,
ultimate
right?
going to be utilized.
Nice
Lots of
outfit.
damage going there onto Ty. Ty is going to be taken off by Sir Kaz. Now Matsy going over the wall. Blue Moon Jelly committing the ultimate to stay alive. Level 3 Scuttle looking the backline will be the target. Sir Kaz able to find another shutdown. Overheat does get level 3 Scuttle in the end.
Yeah, great picks here, and again, now it's all about playing that base defense, right? Back in the what Val calls the plumber years of the LBLCS, my ADC PP Bears and I, we used to call whenever our Nexus was open like this, we used to call it just playing Bloons Tower Defense 7. And you know, we did lose most of them, but 1 out of every 10 where we're in this situation, we're able to kind of claw our way back in. And I think if there's a team to do it, it's Dogs that Bark.
Oh, righty. Dogs at Bark. Being a little bit fakey here. Now, they do have 8,200 gold to overcome. Okay. Or 7,200, 800 or so.
Yeah, I think the big thing to harp on here if your Dogs at Bark though is it's not about getting an 8k gold deficit back in place. It's really just about getting Mat C, this rapid fire cannon. It's gonna give him that extra safety net that he doesn't have right now. And I think with the way they're playing, with the way the Malphite ults have been, they can get that avenue to kind of pick out Blue Moon Jelly, pick out Ty, pick out Linoleum, and then just again play slow and cordial with the Lucian.
If you... Okay, Happy Death going to be target of the killing here. Crestfell is going to be taken down by Blue Moon Jelly.
Yeah, that's my biggest gripe with the early Kanik Rukern, right? Is you melt quicker than a Yuumi on this Shen. That's supposed to be the beef ball of the team, especially with the Malphite going AP. With that being said, death timers are still pretty low. They're going to lose their inhib for it, but it's still not out of the race.
Yep. Bringing in the top wave here. That turret will be next on the list, and Blue Moon Jelly just does so much. Okay, we are going to see the ultimate used towards the mid lane. Ty responding to the play. Level 3 Scuttle staying alive for now. The hook's going to find one, and Matt C is left alone without support of his teammates. Gonna loop back up with Serquaz. Cressfell will be alive yet again, taunting under turret. But that's not who's tanking. A good Malphite ultimate, but it's not enough damage. The Naughty Dogs are going to seal their season with a wax stamp of no losses.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing to kind of take home if your dogs have barked from this series is you just have to figure out a little bit of the coordination of how can we best play around Matt C and Psychotic Chainsaw to kind of let him take over the games, right? I think one of the things that I've noticed, at least in commercial in all 4 of the groups, is there's not a lot of teams that have the superstars in the bot lane, right? I think High Alert Henchman is a team that has, with Nox, has one of the stars in ADC. I think Matt C is one of the stars, and I think if those teams can really figure out how to capitalize on the power that they provide, I think they can be a huge dark horse in playoffs.
Now, who are your MVP candidates this game? I've got Matt C, It's Ty, Blue Moon Jelly, and Overheated. But I want to know if there was someone else who stood out to you.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-man race, and I think it's between Matt C and Overheated. Given it's the win, I'd have to go Overheated. But yeah, I think a statement game like that on Ornn, followed up by what in my opinion was almost a solo carry on the Mordekaiser. I couldn't give it to anybody else.
All right. Well, we are going to have that poll going, so you can vote on who the player of the game was while I make the rest of my waffle batter. I'm only a little disappointed that no one used their schmeckles to do a batter up. Maybe I need to run a focus group on if batter up is expensive right now or what's going on.
I will give some credit. Valve Index in the chat earlier did say, I feel robbed that I'm not getting to see this guy make a waffle. I think she might have just not known that you need to spend points to get said waffle to be made.
Yeah, this is a high ticket item if you want me to make the waffle for you. These waffles I'm making for myself. Alright? Oh, him, all you had to do was say, alright, I'm making them for him, the guy. You can have 2 for the price of 1. I listen, the dinosaur ladle that I'm scooping with right now only holds that much batter. And it expands a bit.
I gotta ask, Pablo. Since you've got the waffle maker, how often do you eat waffles?
I only make and eat waffles when I stream. And I'm not gonna lie, there are times where I have to end up composting the waffles.
Okay. I guess follow-up question to that then. Before you got the waffle maker, like, did you ever have waffles and pancakes, or were you just like, is this just a almost LBLCS exclusive escapade?
I wasn't planning on getting the waffle maker because I had a gift card. But it just so happened that LeChance had joked about the Cuisinart Double Round Belgian Flip Waffle Maker being a sponsor of our stream while it was coming to me in the mail. So I decided, I have to, right? Like, there's no shot. He didn't know about it either. He just did that off of pure coincidence because, the Cuisinart Double Flip Belgian Round Waffle Maker is a excellent piece of machinery. And, it's just stellar and highly well engineered. Spits out a waffle every, 2 minutes or so. We do have It's Ty winning the MVP of the series, asking if he wants to interview. But yeah, no, I would eat pancakes before that. Actually, my household does like to do breakfast for dinner. So we would do that every once in a while, but now we do waffles instead. We also, if you've ever heard of them, do a little dish called Able Skeevers.
I have not heard of that little dish.
I believe it originates from Scandinavia. Oh yeah, we have to do it this way. Ty, welcome to the broadcast. Congratulations on your victory. Stellar performance for you on Diego. Talk me through what you were thinking about, though. Let's say game 1, Matt C has a bunch of kills, and maybe you're getting whispers that your coach is flaming you on the broadcast.
Listen, especially with the coach flaming, that doesn't ever stop. So, but side note, that the Zeri getting kills super stressful. But then we kind of realized that we were just overestimating like her mobility, because I don't know. I guess we beat a Smolder a couple weeks ago when Smolder was OP, right? So what's any ADC now? But the Zeri, yeah, I don't know. The Zeri was stressful until like we won that one team fight where can't remember if it was Happy Death hitting that hook or what it was. Maybe it was an Ornn ult, but we just one shot her, and then the game was over after I got that shutdown.
All right. Well, so not too much to say then. Unless, do you have other questions about these games you want to ask, Zelius?
Yeah, I guess because I think that I mentioned this just after the game ended. I think even though the games were pretty convincing overall in the Naughty Dog side, I think Matt C is like crazy. Did you guys feel the pressure of the bot lane like early in the series, like as much as it came across in the spectator?
I think we like definitely did game 1 because game 1 was a lot closer. I feel, especially with the dragon lead, because like I didn't really have as much bot prow as I prefer for those dragons. And once they had the soul point, it was a little stressful, especially with, I think this area was like, what, like 8-2 at one point or something like that. And that's like super dangerous, especially because like how he was playing. I knew he had the ability to definitely carry that if he was given the opportunity to.
And then I guess maybe another hot take I said was that I think across commercial, there's not a lot of superstar ADCs anymore. I think in a lot of LBLCS seasons past, it was just better bot wins, and I think now we're seeing a lot of shift into teams getting their top laners and their mids to really be the shining stars. So I guess what's your take as a player within commercial on the teams that prioritize the bot lane over the top lane?
Well, honestly, I think having Linoleum as my ADC is the best result possible because he fully can carry a game if it's put in his basket, but I can also just island him and go anywhere else I want. And I think the fact that my top laner keeps solo killing every laner he plays against is kind of super important for what you touched on, the whole top mider winning or dominating commercial, especially. So I don't know. There hasn't been any like ADCs that I was like, oh my god, we're just gonna lose because this ADC is miles better. Because honestly, my ADC is playing out of his mind.
All right, Linoleum, respect. Now, just one more question before we go ahead and wrap up this stream here. What are you looking forward to in playoffs? Any particular teams? Any particular stories? And then anyone you want to shout out, thank, coaches, supporters, people cheering for you in the chat?
Just, for teams we're looking to play, I'm not too sure. I haven't been watching the other groups as often. I know Italy's a strong contender. I believe they're locked seed number 1, which is just pretty interesting. I do hope we get to play against them at some point. I think that would be a good game. Definitely shout out Zelius. If for anybody that doesn't know, our team doesn't know how to draft whatsoever. So I think we'd probably be last place otherwise. And honestly, my team, fantastic. Best season I've had with them so far. So super happy with our performance in the regular season.
All right. And with that, Zelius, do you want to take us out with the classic phrase you always use to end the stream?
Yes. Pablo is going to regret eating 6 waffles.